$100 MBA Show, and today is a Q&A weekend episode where we answer your question right here on the show. I'm your host, your coach, your teacher, Omar Zinholm. I'm also the co-founder of the $100 MBA, a complete business training and community online. If you want to submit a question for us to answer on the weekends, just email us at contact@100mba.net, or you can use our Speak It option where you can record your question and we'll play it on the show. And you can check that out at 100mba.net/show. Before I jump into today's question, I want to talk about a tool that can help you build a great looking website quickly and easily. And that's Squarespace. You heard me speak about Squarespace in previous episodes, and today they are our sponsor. Squarespace recently launched the latest version of their platform, Squarespace 7, which has a completely redesigned interface, integrations with Getty Images, Google Apps, and 15 new templates. They have this new incredible feature called Cover Pages, so you should check it out. Try the new Squarespace at squarespace.com/MBA and enter code MBA at checkout to get 10% off. Today's question comes from Khaled, or Khaled, which is the way you pronounce it in Arabic. And Khaled's actually an old college friend of mine that reconnected with me because he listened to the show. And his question is, can I use repurposed content for my podcast? It's a great question. I'm glad he asked it because I really wanted to address this on the show. Some of you may be thinking about starting a podcast and wondering what kind of content should you have on the podcast. So what Khaled's asking is, can I take some content that I've done before? So for example, you give a speech at a college, or you give a speech at a meetup. The audio is recorded. Can you take that recording and just upload it and create an episode out of it? Or maybe this is a regular thing. Maybe you give classes every week, or you give lectures every week somewhere. Can you record those lectures and then just use that as your podcast? So my answer to that is technically, yes, you can do that if you'd like. But do I recommend that? No. And the reason why I don't recommend that is because the nature of a podcast is that it's a very intimate conversation with your listeners. Right now, I'm talking to you, the listener of our show, through my mic, and I have you in mind when I'm talking or answering these questions or when I'm giving my lessons on a daily basis. I'm talking to you. I have you as my audience in mind. Now, that lecture that I gave at a meetup or an event, that was for that audience. That content, that delivery, that was all for that audience. You delivered it for them, not for the people that are listening to your podcast. What I learned as an educator for over 13 years is that the best teachers, the best people that can convey their message are those that study the people that they're trying to deliver that message to. They know exactly who these people are and they cater the message straight to them. If you want your podcast to really resonate with your audience, you need to make sure it's connecting strongly with them, that you're talking directly to those people. And you really can't do that when you're repurposing content. Now, there's a couple exceptions. There's a couple things you can do with that content. One, you may have had some bullet points or notes or maybe a script that you had from that speech that you gave at the event. You could take those notes and reformat those things and redeliver it on the podcast with a completely separate recording. You can give the content, but the delivery and the way you deliver it should be directed to your audience that is listening to the podcast. See, there's a major difference when I'm talking, when I'm teaching, when I'm presenting on a podcast versus a live performance or a live class or a live event, because I might have some interaction. I might be asking questions in a live event. I might be pointing at slides or referring to visuals that you can't see on a podcast. If you're listening to this lecture on a podcast, it wasn't made for somebody just to listen. So I need to reformat that and make sure that I'm delivering it in a way that's comprehensible, cohesive, and as well engaging. The other way I can use this content is I may want to take some snippets. Maybe there are some sound bites that are really great from that lecture, and I can throw them in like a documentary style podcast. So I can maybe talk about it a little bit, and then I may say, listen to this clip where I speak about this point at a lecture I did last week. Give it a listen, and you just cut to that bit. Maybe it's like a minute or two, and then go back to your own podcast, your own voice on the mic. Now, this adds a little bit of variety, a little bit of personality to your podcast, and it may just work. But pulling the whole lecture and just uploading it, and that's your episode, I don't really advise that. I see the podcast platform as a way for you to connect directly with the people that you're serving, the people that are meant to serve. So utilize this opportunity to be intimate with them, to give them practical advice, to give them direct advice, to show your personalities. Sometimes when we do these live events, it's a bit formal. And podcasts by nature are informal. They're friendly and personal. So don't be afraid to share a little bit of your personality, a little bit of your personal life, as well as some experiences that can supplement what you're offering on the show. So just to wrap up Khalid's question, yes, you can repurpose content, but not as is. You're going to have to modify, maybe take the information, re-record it in a way that is perfect for the audience that's listening, or maybe take some sound bites and use that in your show. Guys, today's show is sponsored by Squarespace, and if you haven't checked out Squarespace's new platform, Squarespace 7, you really should. You know, building a website used to take a very long time. You used to have to set up everything yourself manually and spend all day troubleshooting it. It was a headache. If you ever had to edit a site, it's pretty easy to break links and mess things up, and it takes a while to fix again, and sometimes it's even hard just to change colors of a font or even a background or something like that. But now you have the option of using Squarespace, which can help you build beautiful websites without all the stress. If you're new to Squarespace, check it out. Their new platform, Squarespace 7, has a whole redesigned interface, has great integration with Google Apps, and has a partnership with Getty Images, which is great because you often need really nice photos for your website. They have new design templates, and they have a new thing called cover pages, which is great for portfolios and personal business websites. Their sites are responsive, so they look great on mobile devices as well. And you could check them out for free on a trial with no credit card required to start building your website today. When you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure you use the offer code MBA to get 10% off your first purchase and show your support for our podcast. That's promo code MBA. Guys, don't forget, you too can ask a question. We answer questions every weekend. You can submit your question at contact@100mba.net, or you can record your question to be played on the air using our Speak It option. You can check that out at 100mba.net/show. Guys, I want to leave you with this. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, understand that podcasts are growing tremendously, and they're becoming so popular. They're more popular than national radio and even some national television channels because it's on demand and it's evergreen. And with that, a lot of high quality professional shows and talents are coming to the podcast world. So you got to bring your game. You got to really create a great show with great content for your audience. This is not to intimidate you, but it's just so you can understand that if you're going to start a podcast, is to take it seriously and take it on as a project, just like you're building a product. I'm actually currently writing a blog post about what we've learned after recording and publishing over 100 episodes of the $100 MBA Show. So look out for that. It's going to really detail all the things I've learned and things I wanted to share with you. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, what really makes one successful? You know, we've been fortunate enough to have a lot of success with the show, and obviously this is due to you guys, the listeners, listening to us and supporting us. But it's also our job to make sure we create something that is worth listening to. So check out that blog post when it comes out. If you haven't subscribed to the $100 MBA blog, please do so. You get a whole bunch of freebies when you subscribe, like our free idea validation course and workbook, and a whole bunch of other free goodies that we send you when you sign up. It's completely free, and it's just our way to keep on giving you value. All right, guys, I'll check you in the next episode. Take care.